When one thinks about it, the success of any facet of the business can almost be traced to motivated employees. Organizational motivation is a critical part of every organization. A recent Gallup study found that the cost of poor management and loss of productivity from employees in the U.S. who are not engaged or actively disengaged to be between $960 billion and $1.2 trillion per year. Individuals, universities, institutions, and other organizations have been studying people and organizations for nearly a century and are still developing ideas and theories regarding motivation. Continued research into organizational motivation is needed as new workplace motivators and expectations are emerging. Workplace concerns are shifting from paycheck to purpose, satisfaction to development, weakness to strengths, jobs to life, among others. One classical theory of motivation is Herzberg's two-factor theory. Recently, Herzberg's theory has encouraged further research into intrinsic and extrinsic factors that suggest that intrinsic factors are the real key to motivating people.
Seems like a basic reward system where you give us points and then we redeem those points for prizes.
You're exactly right, and you get a point.
Oh.
Another relatively recent focus of research has been on organizational collective motivation. Organizational collective motivation, or OCM, seeks to address motivation on an individual level, as well as on a collective organizational level. OCM suggests that motivation is based off both individual and collective beliefs that are influenced by 5 key aspects. Starting with Herzberg's two-factor theory, this lesson emphasizes the increasing importance of intrinsic motivators.
Have you noticed a little bit of a mood shift around here? No, I haven't noticed anything.
In addition to Herzberg's theory, Hackman and Ullman's job characteristic model will also be discussed. This lesson will also introduce the theory of organizational collective motivation as advanced by Hitchcock and Strauss, and conclude with a discussion of how the process of management by objective supports the intrinsic motivating factors discussed in these theories. I'd like to discuss workplace motivation through the lens of Herzberg's theory of intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. This theory poses that intrinsic factors such as achievement, growth, and challenging work are what lead employees to be motivated and in turn higher job satisfaction. The article by Osbia, The Effect of Employees' Motivation on Organizational Performance, confirms that intrinsic motivators were critical to the surveyed population that had the greatest effect on motivation as well as a high impact on productivity. The construction workers that were involved in the findings reported that teamwork, work based on contract, supervision based on leadership by example, and provision of equipment were significant factors in production and effort. 3 of the 4 top factors were intrinsic. The article states, with a positive motivation philosophy and practice in place, productivity, quality, and service should improve because motivation helps people towards achieving goals, gaining positive perspective, creating the power for change, building self-esteem and capability, and managing the development and helping of others.
120 points. Yeah, it's a big sale. Don't worry about it, though. I don't really care about the points.
The positivity can lead to better teamwork, a more open atmosphere to problem solve and explore ideas for completing work projects. The extrinsic motive factors of provision of equipment cause frustration when equipment was not readily available or functioning properly. This reiterates Herzberg's theory that extrinsic motivators do not promote job satisfaction, but can only cause job dissatisfaction. These workers did not have a better day when they came in and the crane actually worked or the forklift was operational. They only had more frustration when they didn't work. Of course, the extrinsic motivator of pay does play a part, as most people work to live, they do not live to work. But even pay is tied to intrinsic motivators of merit. The article suggests that employees should be promoted when due in order to ensure better job performance. The managers should hold out the promise of reward once the objective is achieved, because behavior, which is perceived to be rewarded, will tend to be repeated. No one should turn down an unwarranted raise or bonus, but if wages are raised and extra money is handed out without achievement, achievement is unlikely to be strived for.
Who talked to Maggie at Kaufman's?
Yes, Mrs. Governor.
Organizational collective motivation. Herzberg's two-factor theory and Hackman's and Holdham's job characteristics model both focus more on individual or personal aspects of motivation. The theory of organizational collective motivation, or OCM, on the other hand, addresses the modern challenge of motivating organizations as a whole. Another modern challenge addressed by OCM is the challenge of motivating individuals in remote jobs and organizations with virtual workplaces. The foundation of OCM lies in individual and collective beliefs. These beliefs are influenced by individual and collective aspects, which are in turn made up of 19 common motivators for both the individual and the collective. For example, the commitment, goal setting and commitment. The belief, collective efficacy. The collective reason, expectancy of effort and outcome. The organizational influence, job design. Another example of this, the commitment, empowerment. The belief, identification within the organization. The collective reason, purpose beyond self. And the organizational influence, organizational climate. According to Hitchcock and Stavros, an organization whose workforce is both individually and collectively motivated will thrive because its members will be engaged and committed to organizational success.
So if we just go on with our work, you and me, they'll follow along.
Monkey see, monkey do.
That's it.
Commitment to organizational success is especially important in the modern workplace where individuals can work remotely and entire organizations may be virtual. In these organizational environments, extrinsic or hygiene factors become less important as many of these factors become the responsibility of the remote individual. Intrinsic factors, on the other hand, are becoming increasingly important. With so many opportunities available, and with most hygiene factors being met, organizations that effectively incorporate positive intrinsic job characteristics into their work will have more motivated and committed employees.
Sure, I'm a little nervous, but doing our work will make us feel better. I only slack off when things are good.
Research on goal setting and its link to behavior has continued well into the middle 2000s. Path goal theory suggests that specific goals result in higher effort than less specific goals. In other words, making goals understandable and reachable will relate in the employee working harder to achieve the goal. Also, even if the goal is difficult, it will be accepted as reasonable. The goal difficulty effect allows the employee to have a greater satisfaction over easier goals. Unfortunately, though, not every set goal will lead to an employee's enhanced performance. The reason for this is because an employee could possibly put their own personal goals before the one that is set for them.
It is so much fun. Everybody plays a character. We go around the room. We try to figure out who did it.
Hey, I'm wondering if this is a terrible idea.